Hi, I'm Paul Battaglia, and this is section 13.1, representing data. At the beginning of this section, we see a lot of terms, and while it's important that students know the meanings of these terms, it's equally important that we illustrate the terms in context. For instance, I know my students think a bar graph is really the end-all, be-all, and they actually think it's the same thing as a histogram. So to help dispel some of these myths, I brought on Gabe and Brittany, and Brittany, talk to us a little bit about how we can have our students distinguish between things like a bar graph and a histogram.
All right, so at the beginning of the chapter, we talk about qualitative data and quantitative data.
Okay.
And so we go back to that.
All right.
So a bar graph represents qualitative data.
Okay.
And so there can be spacing in between each of the bars.
Okay.
While a histogram represents quantitative data.
Okay.
And so on the horizontal axis, we have numbers, and there are no gaps in between.
Okay.
And the only time that there is a little bit of spacing is if there's no data.
For that
Points
particular-
represent,
okay.
yeah.
Got it. Okay. Gabe, talk to us a little bit more about the other ways we can represent this data.
Sure. So histograms are great ways for representing larger data sets.
Okay.
But we also have line plots or dot plots and stem and leaf plots to represent smaller data sets, usually with less than 50 values that we're looking
Perfect.
at.
And I think the other thing we want to get through to students is to ask them to look for patterns in their data as they look at whatever organizational tool that you're using here. I hope these tips have been helpful for you and you find much success in section 13.1.